The talent cycles of Bloomburrow are the second large release of class enchantments, first introduced in the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms set. I was looking at the rare classes and was feeling squirrely about the 1 black scavenger's talent, creating a food whenever 1 or more creatures you control die. Then I read level 2 and that squirrel blasted into another universe. That mill effect is desperately asking to go infinite, and I for one am happy to oblige. But first, I must ask you to please subscribe to the channel. If you don't, the bad woodland critters are gonna come find me again. The second level will have a target player mill 2 cards whenever you sacrifice a permanent. The first thing you need in that case is a way to sacrifice permanents. Viscera Seer, Bartolome del Presidio, and Woestrider are budget options that fit the bill. Artifacts like Phyrexian Altar, Ashnod's Altar, and Altar of Dementia are other options that aren't wallet friendly, but honestly I just wanted to bring up that they're all altars. After that, we need a way to loop a creature being sacrificed. Thran Vigil and Putrid Goblin team up to keep that loop alive. First, you'll sacrifice the Putrid Goblin, and because of the persist effect, when this creature dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, you'll return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter. Thran Vigil will see the goblin die, enter the graveyard, and persist back onto the battlefield, triggering the enchantment's ability. The Putrid Goblin will enter with a -1/-1 counter, and you will assign the +1/+1 counter from the triggered Thran Vigil to the goblin, returning the creature to its normal, counterless state. You can do this for however long your opponents let you, and to tie it all together, every time you sacrifice the Putrid Goblin, you'll trigger Scavenger's Talent, eventually milling each opponent's library down to 0. This works with any creature that has persist, and any spell that can neutralize the -1/-1 counter from sticking to the persisted creature. The real tech is cutting out your sacrifice enabler by running airy oofs that can sacrifice themselves. Stormsplitter is the next combo piece, and this otter wizard is a closer. You can tell from the fishbone staff that he was going to be trouble. For 3 and a red, you get a hasted 1/4 that will create a token copy of itself whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. Now the thing you need to know is that the copy has that same text. After casting your first spell, there would be 2 copies of Stormsplitter. After your second spell, 4. Third spell, 8, then 16, 32, and I think you're splitting what I'm storming up. After 8 instants or sorceries, you're at 256 Stormsplitters. And I'm comfortable saying that Alpha striking all those creatures is gonna be a win more often than not. You can get to that casting total the honest way, through frantic search, snap, and okay, maybe a Jeska's Will to cycle through cantrips, restock your hand with Dig Through Time, and you get the point. Or you could cast Sprout Swarm with Buyback after casting only your second instant or sorcery of the turn when you have 4 Stormsplitters. With 1 green mana, you can convoke and buy back Sprout Swarm for 4 additional Stormsplitters, plus that 1/1 green sapperling creature token. Now that you have 8 Stormsplitters and 5 untapped creatures, including that all-important green creature, you can cast and buy back this spell as long as your heart desires. I'm a big simp for flavor text, and we'll cover more ground if I split up is perfect for this little guy. I hear it in Ezreal's voice for whatever reason.
You belong in a museum!
Iridescent Vine Lasher is the next combo piece I got for ya. This is a single black 1/2 creature with Offspring 2 and a landfall trigger that deals 1 damage to a target opponent. This is the first time dealing with Offspring on the channel, so let's touch on that for a second. When you cast the spell, you can choose to pay the Offspring cost, for a total of 2 and black in this case. If you do, you get a token 1/1 copy of the creature. I'm a big fan of this mechanic because some of these Offspring tokens are freaking adorable. Not this one, but look at these. Come on, I know your hearts are melting. But the offspring ability is especially good on the Vine Lasher because you get a backup of your combo piece. And to that end, what you need to do is make infinite land drops, something Kodama of the East Tree, Felidar Retreat, and any bounce land can manage. Play your Orzhov Basilica or any bounce land. All 3 of the permanents will trigger, so you'll need to order the stack correctly. First, resolve Kodama's trigger, choosing not to put anything from your hand onto the battlefield. Then resolve the Basilica trigger, returning that same land to your hand. And finally, resolve the Felidar Retreat trigger, choosing the first option, creating a 2/2 white cat beast creature token. That creature entering will then trigger Kodama of the East Tree, allowing you to put your Orzhov Basilica back on the battlefield. Bounce it back to your hand, create another cat, play your land again thanks to Kodama, and repeat. When Iridescent Vine Lasher is on the battlefield, you'll be able to deal lethal damage to each of your opponents through the landfall trigger. While we're talking about Offspring, Starscape Cleric is another combo piece with that mechanic. It's a 1 and a black, 2/1 flyer straight up, but for an additional 2 and a black, you get a second 1/1 copy. This creature can't block, which is a bit of a bummer, but hopefully you won't need to block, because you've already won when pairing this up with Exquisite Blood. This is a classic loop that needs a single instance of you gaining life or an opponent losing life. In either case, one of these 2 permanents will trigger, triggering the other, triggering the other, triggering the other, until your opponent's life totals have been completely drained. You only need this single Bat Cleric, but again, having that upside of a backup with the Offspring ability is a heck of an insurance policy. Heartfire Hero needs a little bit of help, but if you do manage to pump this creature's power higher than your opponent's life totals, you can sacrifice it with a Goblin Bombardment, Life's Legacy, the Ravenous Squirrel, for all I care. The point is, Heartfire Hero will then deal damage equal to its power to each opponent. Throw Soulfoam into the mix, and you only gotta get halfway to the highest life total. This little uncommon has the makings of being a secret commander, hidden in your deck to offer an explosive surprise. Last but not least is Valley Rotcaller. This creature needs to attack to trigger its ability, causing each opponent to lose X life and you to gain X life, where X is equal to the number of squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. Squirrels and rats are the 2 creature types that jump out from this list that can abuse this ability with relative ease. Song of Totentons is one of my favorite spells from Wilds of Eldraine. It makes X 1/1 black rat creature tokens and gives all the creatures you control haste. There's plenty of ways to get infinite mana, and if you manage to, the song will offer you infinite rat tokens. This will be GG most of the time, but if there's a wily blue player in your midst with an Aetherize, or a white player with Settle the Wreckage, having the Rotcaller alongside them spoils that plan, putting the game-ending amount of life loss on the stack when it attacks. Camellia the Seed Miser is a Bloomburrow legend that makes squirrels when you sacrifice food. Alongside Peregrine Took and Bartolome del Presidio, you can infinitely sacrifice the bonus food Peregrine makes to end up with infinite 1/1 squirrels. Then, the Valley Rotcaller comes a-calling. Camellia was a little bit of a bonus combo piece here, but she's not the only Golgari legend that can go infinite. Check out my last video featuring Igra, Eater of All, to check that out too. I love a good old-fashioned combat beatdown to win a commander game, but a combo win can be just as satisfying and really does hone your pod's threat detection skills. As the MTG monkeys, I am a little sad our species didn't make the cut for this woodland critter set, but how can I stay mad at this? Thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel, like the video, but only if you liked the video, and leave a comment about anything Bloomburrow. What combo do you want to explore? Which art is the cutest? Would frogs or raccoons win in a fight? Let me know, and I'll catch you next time for some more monkeying around.